All right, so this is going to Jenny Gregory. She asked a great question. I have tried this so many times. I quote unquote have failed. How do I give myself permission to do this again? How do I do this one more time with this fear of failure looming in the back? So, Jenny, the very first thing I want to say is there is no fail or pass to this. Crazy, right? I used to think that. I used to think it's either a fail or a pass. It's not. We in the West tend to see things very linear. I start at point A, I'm 200 pounds. I pass if I hit 150 pounds. Straight line, right? Whereas in the East, they tend to view progress and process in a circular pattern. So instead of you going from a point to another point and drawing a straight line, it would be like going up the inside of a lighthouse and that spiraling up motion where you're constantly circling around the same problem, but every time you put some time and energy into it and you make improvements, you would be going up and up and up, but you're still always spiraling around the same problem. So there's never really a beginning and there's never really an end. It's just this upward motion. And here's how we can think of this differently. When you were a kid and you were learning to write and you were learning to ride a bike, you didn't sit there and say, oh my gosh, I fell off my bike. I have failed. I will never get back on this contraption again. Screw bike riding. Obviously, I'm not good at this. No, kids don't think that way because kids don't have this limited belief about themselves. They see, oh wait, I just fell off the bike. Great, I get back on, I try again until I get it. And guess what? Most people, when they're kids, they learn to ride a bike. They learn to write. They can put a pencil on paper. But it's the same thing. When kids start writing, it's hard as heck. They're not equipped to do those fine motor skills, but they keep failing. They keep quote unquote failing and learning and progressing, but they don't put the weight behind it that we do as adults. As adults, we start to see things as like a zero-sum game, right? I'm either good at this, I'm not good at this. The things I'm not good at, screw it, I'm not doing it. The things I am good at, I'm going to devote all my time and attention to, and I'm not going to force myself to go back to these things that make me uncomfortable because I don't want to put the effort in, or I'm afraid, God forbid, I fail again. And so what we want to remember is, since you can now walk, which means when you were 13 months old, you didn't give up. More than likely, you can write your name at least, right? You didn't give up. You probably kept getting back on your bike or your roller skates or whatever, and you kept trying, or learning to swim. You have these things in your past that you didn't judge yourself as harshly. And we need to be willing to take on that kid's thought process of, this isn't, I'm not passing or failing. I'm just trying again, and I'm trying again. Now, where I differ from a lot of people is what I'm suggesting we do is, instead of looking at the past as fails, what if we look at those as learning opportunities? What if you were to say, maybe I did this 5 times in my past, and all 5 times I never got to the goal? Well, in there is a great nugget of something you need to learn. Whether it's about your mindset on how you're approaching weight loss, right? Maybe it's the all or nothing thinking. Maybe you believe you have to be super restrictive, which is why it blows up in your face. Maybe you want to do it with one of your friends and you guys do some kind of crazy detox diet and you guys clear out the pantry and you do all this stuff and it's almost ceremonial and then it never works out. Like, maybe it's the way you've gone about it or you're thinking about it that has caused you not to be successful. And where you want to get wildly curious is what didn't work for you. Whatever didn't work for you, you want to do it differently. Because what's insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. If every time you approach weight loss, it's with the all or nothing, super restrictive thought process, and you wonder why you only last 2 weeks or you never get to your goal, I would make the argument it's probably all of those things, right? Restriction on and off. So maybe you take a totally different approach and you say, I learned the last 5 times, none of that really worked for me. So what if I actually just focused on breakfast? What if I looked at revamping breakfast, picking an option that's lower in calories or higher in fruits and vegetables or whatever, and I'm just going to focus on that. Take a totally different track because you are forever learning and growing. Let's be honest, Jenny, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever job you have, whatever place you are in life, the person that you were 5, 10 years ago is not the same person you are today. And that's the other shame of that thought process of, I failed so many times, I don't want to give myself another chance. It would be like taking a kid who's 5 and struggling with, say, writing their name and then saying, you know, at 10 years of age, I don't know if you're going to be able to do this. Wouldn't we all make the argument that the 10-year-old has different fine motor skills and comprehension ability than the 5-year-old? Well, do you believe that's only true for children? Because it's not. Like, what they have shown with the human brain is we are capable of learning new stuff continuously. Think about that. Isn't that exciting? What that means is the you at 50 is not the you at 60, and the you at 60 is not the you at 70, and so on and so forth. So even if this is something you've always struggled with, it's always been a problem for you, it doesn't mean you're fixed in the sense of you can't learn more. You're not a fixed thing. You're forever growing and changing. Your capacity to learn, try again, learn from the mistakes, make improvements, it's endless. And that is exciting. So when you think to yourself, I failed in my past, yeah, all of us have failed in our past. When you were a kid, you failed in your past, but you showed up anyway, you did the work, and look, now you can write, probably ride your bike, you're walking, I hope, right? You're doing all these things that at one point probably felt super difficult, and you fell down a lot, but you kept getting back up. So what we want to remember in all of this, a couple things. One, progress is never linear, no matter what the goal. So you're never going to go from point A to point B in a straight line. You're going to have bumps and there's going to be problems. You're looking more at that spiral case going up. So it should be you're revolving around the same problem over and over again and moving yourself up. The next thing, you have to see the difference between your capacity to learn and grow and change versus being some kind of a fixed entity. You're not. You're not the same person at 30 that you were at 30, or you're not the same person at 35 that you were at 30 or at 25. You're ever growing and changing. That's the beauty of being human. Your brain has the ability to learn new concepts and change. And by giving yourself another chance with the caveat, you don't keep doing the same thing. If you do the same behavior all the time or have the same mindset about the behavior every time, you will repeat the same situation. So dig deep, don't stay superficial and on the level. Dig deep and say, what is it that's not working for me? How am I thinking about this process? How can I think about this differently? And how can I do different actions? That's a big one. So just want to encourage you, never give up, never think you're broken, never think you're going to stay on the ground 24/7. There is potential for you, and you are an ever growing, ever learning person. I love that. You guys have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.